Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on?
So,
Welcome back. This is not the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the
no.
best volleyball coverage on the internet. This is a predictions video. We are back. Our women's predictions video for the 2025 VNL was quite a good time. We got a lot of comments of people telling us that we were idiots, and now only 3 days into women's VNL, those predictions some have held up, some have not, but that was a fun exercise. We're going to run it back here on the men's side. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is
What up?
Everett Delorme, live from Ottawa, where he's been doing an awesome job covering women's VNL this week. Everett, you ready to get yelled at in the comments again?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to kick it off and put USA at 18.
Oh, yeah? That's how we're going to do this?
I mean, hey, your 12-man roster's out for next week, and might not be out far off on that one.
Well, we know our 12-man roster, but is it out? Did it get released to the public?
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
That would be
maybe it's not released to the public. Maybe we just know internally. I don't know. I can't honestly. I've always I forgot how tired I get after these weeks, and we're getting to that point. And I'm only I'm not even done week 1 of 3. So
yeah, you've got a hell of a stretch, my friend. I'm just kind of coasting, chilling, watching games in the background and waiting for Chicago when you show up here in my city. But it has been extremely fun to watch women so far this week. I've had an awesome time watching it. People gave me a lot of grief about my USA women's pick at 9, yourself included, Everett. And we are
let's not talk about women's. Let's just jump right into it.
But yes, we're gonna jump over to the men. I don't know why let's see. I think I need to fix my screen share so that we can see the rankings that we're going to put together. So let me fix that really quick. But yeah, we are going to jump into it. We are going to give our rankings from 18 to 1. We're going to start with our relegated teams. And I don't know about you, how much you've thought about this.
I've done zero. Like for the women, I had 4 different rankings I had built out. I had compared schedules, all this shit. For the men, I've done 0. My plan this morning was to wake up maybe a little bit early and do some prep, go get some Starbucks, do some prep. First and foremost, the Starbucks app is one of the worst things I've ever used. Figure it out, Starbucks. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. It shouldn't be that fucking clunky. And then also, too, I got home from the gym. I got back from the gym at 1:15 last night, and I'm just pretty zonked. So I've done absolutely zero prep. But I will tell you that I'm going to put Ukraine at 18.
Okay.
Okay. Jump into it.
You're jumping into it. You're putting Ukraine at 18. You think they get relegated in their first VNL. I had a really hard time with this. I thought about putting Ukraine at 18, but then I watched some of their friendlies that they played against Poland's C team, Bulgaria, and Germany. And while there's no world in which Ukraine makes the playoffs, I thought that they looked a little better than I thought. And I think that they might be kind of good early in the tournament, and then I think they'll run out of gas. They have some battle-tested players, but they certainly do not have depth. But I don't think they're bad enough to get relegated. It's gonna be close.
Vasyl Tupci isn't good enough to he'll carry them through once or twice. I don't know. I just don't see it from them. I really don't, especially without Plotnitsky.
That's huge.
And there's that. There's you don't have Plotnitsky. B, you don't have you don't know what VNL is like. And C, I remember a time when Canada was beating France and Brazil in pre-match tournaments, pre-tournament matches before going 3-9 in the VNL. So none of these pre-tournament matches mean anything to me.
True.
Absolutely nothing at all. That's why I'm sticking at Ukraine at 12. Without Plotnitsky, that team just has no depth. You're going to rely on Yuri Semeniuk to close the block for you, Vasyl Tupci to put a lot of points up. And the thing is that I feel like Tupci isn't he shows up against the big teams, but not necessarily against the little teams. He's one of those guys. So I just don't. I don't really see it from Ukraine. I don't see them having the magic.
I think they have a decent schedule. I think they have a couple very winnable games in their schedule. And again, I think they're going to be better early in the tournament than later. I am really curious because Ukraine plays the United States in match 1 of the tournament down in Brazil, and we know that the United States has a very, very young roster. So as far as like getting your first VNL match in, that's a pretty decent opponent to do it against if you're Ukraine. I do not have them at 18. I'll put them on my list later. At 18, I have the Netherlands. I think the Dutch get relegated here, and it's because of the absence of Namir Abdelaziz. I know he's on the thumbnail of this video because Volleyball World made this nice little like promo asset, and then he announced that, like, even though he's on the long list, he's not going to play this tournament. The Dutch have nobody who can score points not named Namir Abdelaziz. And even if they did, they're not ready to do so because the last so many years since Namir switched to opposite, they refuse to do anything other than set him the ball. They are so unequipped to play in this tournament without that one player, more so than any other team in the VNL. Even like Ukraine without Plotnitsky obviously is going to be like handcuffed, but Netherlands without Namir is simply nothing.
I'm going to tend to disagree a little with that because I do think they have Michael Ahi, or it's Michel.
I think it's like Michel or something like that. Michel. But yeah, Ahi's a good player.
He is. No, I think he's good, and I think he's physical. For me, where I think the Dutch are going to suck is the fact that they have Joel Banks as their coach. And nothing against Joel Banks, but I do think that going from Piazza to Joel Banks is a massive step down. I've had other big name players in the chats of my live streams kind of say the same things, is that going from Piazza to Banks is going to be a massive step down. However, you do have a roster and you do have a team who knows how to manage VNL. You do have a federation who knows how to manage VNL. And I think that to me is a more important thing, because what the reality is for this relegation race, it's going to come down to a point. Hell, it might even come down to head-to-head. It might even come down to point differential. So I think that the Dutch are going to be able to steal a game somewhere. And they're going to be able to, you know what I think the Dutch are going to do? I think the Dutch are going to lose a few 5-setters, and they're going to have more points than Ukraine because of that. I think that's how they're going to get by.
I mean, that's not that crazy. The big difference here between the men and the women is that the bad teams on the men's side are nowhere near as bad. The bad teams on the men's side have the ability to steal points and maybe even matches from the middle of the pack and even the good teams. So like it's much, much, much harder to pick this list top to bottom, in my opinion, especially at the bottom, because you're right. I do think the margins are going to be incredibly close. And I'll give you the point on the Dutch Federation knowing what they're doing. This Dutch team does not know what they're doing. Without Namir Abdelaziz, they truly do not know what they're doing. And I also do not like their schedule. I kind of like the women's video. I predicted all of the team's records. I have the Dutch going 2-10. There's one other team I have going 2-10, but that team is not able to be relegated this year, which we'll talk about later. But I have the Dutch beating China in week 1. And I have the Dutch beating Iran in a Piazza revenge game in week 2, and I have them losing every other match in the tournament. It does not look good for me.
You even have them over the Ukraine?
I have them losing to Ukraine in match 1 of week 3.
Okay. I guess we'll see. I just don't. I think that like we've done this in years past where we expect teams like Turkey, Cuba to have really good first years. And we know it's really tough. So that's why I'm sticking with
Ukraine. Right. First year is really tough.
Ukraine is 18, Netherlands at 17.
Yeah, okay. So the Dutch survived just barely. At 17, I have Iran. I think Roberto Piazza escapes one relegation candidate and goes to another. Part of me picking Iran this low, one, I don't know anything about their team this year, but I certainly know what we've seen from them the last 2 or 3 years, like really since the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, and since Maroof and that generation retired, they have been nothing short of a dumpster fire. Nothing short of a dumpster fire. And remember, their coach quit in the middle of the Olympic qualifiers tournament. Like they haven't been able to keep a coach for more than like half of a tournament for 3 years. They're a complete mess. They used to have this great youth system. Like there wasn't there either U21 or U23. Like they had world championship caliber youth teams that have not translated to the senior level even a little bit. And kind of like a couple of the teams we picked on the women's side, I have to see it from them in order to believe it at the senior level. So I've got them going 3-9 and barely surviving relegation.
I'm trying to see. Amin is on their roster.
Yes, he is.
Okay. See, I think that a lot of their issues over the past few years have been coaching related, because like you do have enough roster. Like you have Poria, you have Amin, you know, there's Esfandiar, like there's Sadat, there's different guys on this roster. I'm not too high on them either, but I do think that Piazza is going to have a massive effect on them. I do think that he's going to really come in and kind of settle things down, because they have pieces. And the reality is, like, if you have a scorer like Amin, you're going to be able to steal games. So
are you? I mean, we saw that first year of Amin that was so magical when they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so. Like if you're willing to bank on Ukraine stealing games off of Vasil Tupci, you know, but you're not willing to bank on Amin, who put up much better numbers in the exact same league and has, in my opinion, a better supporting cast and a better coach behind him.
So, like, I don't know about the supporting cast. That's my big question. There is, like, all these guys that you're mentioning, who all the Iranian guys who have gone to play in Italy, Poland, Turkey, like the good leagues in Europe, other than Amin, have done so to go and sit on the bench, like Poria for Lube. Like all these.
Where do the Ukrainian guys play?
They play in the Plus Liga, and all of them start. So, like,
yeah, on their one team that almost got relegated.
That you know, like, avoided getting relegated. I won't believe it from Iran until I see it. It will be an excellent test of how good of a coach Piazza actually is. That's the big thing for me, is that, like, I think that Piazza is a really good coach. Especially, it's so weird, like I've said before, that like you start talking to coaches and you start talking to some players who have played for them specifically, and you know, I'm hearing rave reviews from Piazza. I also think that Piazza fits in with the Iranian mentality. I think that Piazza is, you know, like when they get fiery, he's just going to get fiery right back. Yeah, that part I do see working for sure. All right, okay. Who do you got at 16?
Oh, I mean, I know who I want to put, but they're going to finish 8th.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. You have to put them at 8, because that, like, that. Yeah.
Can we just type in China at 8
it's
right
China.
away?
China will finish 8th, and it is such garbage that is the case, because they are, I think they're far and away the worst team in this VNL. I think they're worse than the Dutch. If Zhang Jingyin can't play, which it sounds like he might be injured, they'll go 0-12 without him, but it won't matter, because they're going to make the playoffs no matter what, because they're hosting, and then they're going to lose in the first round, and their final standing of the VNL, which is what we're picking here, will be 8th. So that's where China's going.
For me, for China, it's just that, like, you do have the Heinen effect, and this is a team that works well for Heinen, right? Also, like, we saw them do some decent stuff in the Challenger Cup last year. Maybe I'm just watching too many of those, like, AI videos that are just glazing the shit out of China. But I believe in them maybe a little bit more.
I do not. I have no belief in China whatsoever.
My problem right now is that
who do you got at 16?
Who do you have at 16?
I have Cuba.
You have Cuba at 16.
I have Cuba at 16. Ronnie Cuban Spike is not going to like this, but I have Cuba at 16. I think that so Robert Landy Simone is on the roster. I think we hear he's going to play week 3. He's at least going to show up week 3. I don't know how much he's actually going to play. Cuba will need to ride Marlon Yant and Miguel Lopez so hard that I don't know if they can sustain it. Cuba is Cuba. We know what we've seen from them. They always manage, just because of their situation and their federation and their coaching staff and everything about Cuba, they managed to take a team with great talent and do the absolute least with it possible. I also don't really like their schedule. They have like 2 somewhat winnable games in week 1. They have Ukraine and then the United States, whoever we bring. And then they have the Dutch in week 2. every other game than that. Oh, and then they have China in week 3. So I have Cuba going 4-8, and past that, they're going to have to work really, really hard and capture some of that like Olympic qualifier 2023 magic that we just haven't seen in about 2 years to beat anybody.
Yeah, honestly, like, the more you say it, the more I kind of agree with it. I just don't think that this Cuban team is gonna have like the gusto to go. I just don't think they're gonna care enough about what's happening. You aren't gonna have Herrera, so there's gonna be a hole on the opposite spot.
I'm really
without
curious
without Robert Landy Simone, you can't even move Masso over to the opposite spot.
That
So at
actually
that point,
is
you're
what they're
gonna have to
going to
put in
do.
you're gonna have to put in one of the Gutierrez's brothers.
No, they actually have Masso will be their starting opposite, according to Ronnie. They just played some friendlies against Argentina. Masso is on the right side the whole time. He's like listed as an opposite.
Who do they have in the middle?
Who
do they have in the middle then?
They have
Concepcion
Concepcion,
what's his face?
Alonso, and then
Alonso.
one other
Honestly,
guy I've never heard
honestly, Concepcion and Alonso isn't a terrible pairing.
It's good. It's a good middle pairing.
It's too bad because like Alonso, I was a lot higher on him a few years ago.
Yeah,
and then he just went and sat on the bench everywhere, and just I think he
sat on the bench
a little
in Piacenza, then went to I think Toronto this year, got relegated.
Was he even starting for Toronto?
I don't remember. Maybe it was like a foreigner limit thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not high on Cuba. Obviously they have great pieces, but like that it's sad and it's not really their fault. But like that federation, that coaching staff, that program, the way that they operate just doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go to Cuba at 16 too.
Okay. How about 15? I've got Ukraine at 15. We already talked about them.
At 15, I have Iran.
Okay. We already talked about them.
Yeah. I think that they're going to be a little, like as I think they're going to be a little better, but I still don't think they're going to be fantastic. I still think wins are going to be hard to come by, especially if they just become right side dominant with Amin. But we'll really have to see. I'm excited to see the Piazza effect. I really am.
That is a very curious one. All right. Gets a little bit interesting here in this next group of teams. At 14, I have Germany. Germany is such a weird team because when they're good, they're really good. Like, obviously, the Olympic qualifiers 2023, when they went 7-0 with Grozer, that was an all-timer. And then they were really good at the Olympics last year. But, like, the last couple of VNLs, when they haven't, I mean, quite frankly, when they don't care, they're really forgettable. Like, they're completely irrelevant when they don't bring all their guys, which they're not. They're missing, I think they're top like 3 or 4 left sides. They're missing.
Yeah, they're really strong on. They're really weak on the outside.
Yeah,
like you've got a few guys coming in. Like you're gonna have Eric Roars and Tobias Brand, and I think that Brand, of all their opposites or other outsides, Brand had the best year. But
he did.
No Linus Weber. You're gonna have Grozer on the roster, but we know he's probably not gonna play. So they're gonna be going to some other opposites who I don't even know.
A disservice in this VNL. It would be a disservice to keep trying to ride Grozer. It just doesn't make sense.
Many ways. In so many ways. Like, and I don't really know enough about the depth that they have in Germany. But
you're missing Brema in the middle, who's a weapon. You're missing Zanger at libero. Like I just don't see it. I think they are deep enough to not get relegated. I'm super excited to see Simon Torwi. I think he's going to be a real breakout player in the middle, but I think they'll steal enough games to not get relegated. I have them going 5-7, and that might even be generous. I just don't think that like the emphasis on this event is there.
Okay. You can see that.
Who do you got at 14?
I'm gonna go Germany as well.
Okay.
I'm making my list as we speak here, guys. I've been in a women's volleyball world for a week, and I haven't even thought about men's. So yeah, I'm speaking. I'm making up my list as.
Okay, well, I'm forcing you to go first for pick number 13 because you keep just following what I'm doing.
13. I am going USA.
Ouch, dude.
I mean, like, look, this roster is a young roster. It's a new roster, especially for week number 1. This is also a roster that we've watched over the past few years at the B team level, at the Pan Am Cup level, a roster that hasn't really been able to get the job done, a roster that has consistently lost to my Canadians. You're going to have Ewert to settle things down, right? Shoji is on the roster.
He's going to play weeks 2 and 3.
Yeah. So that'll help. But like, there's a lot to figure out, not to mention that you're also bringing in a brand new coach. You're bringing in a brand new coach who doesn't know the system, and they're building everything from scratch. And yes, it's Karch. What's true?
Bringing in a brand new coach who doesn't know the system. You're bringing in the greatest player of all time. Who
whoa! Yeah, no. Whoa! Shut the fuck up. Does that discredit anything that I said? Is he a brand new coach to this team?
Yes, he is.
Does he know anything about their systems?
He is the systems. He's the head coach.
But that's exactly it, right? And the big comparison I'm making is to Canada, because there's so many parallels between our two teams right now.
Yes, there are.
Right. We have a new coach who every single player on our roster has a relationship with, because he's coached them on B team. He's been their teammate. He's coached them at FTC, right? There is no getting to know you situation like there is in the USA gym right now. Right. I'm pretty sure that the USA, Karch had to put, sticker name tags like, hello, my name is Karch Karai on day 1 of practice in the USA gym, just because that's the reality of where they're at.
The reason why I know on top of that happen is because Karch Karai does not coach club. And while just like he used to do for the women.
That's the joke. It's a joke. Don't get your panties in a bunch over there. I know you're getting in your feels right now.
Karch
we know.
Global tour.
It's a joke, Rob St. Clair. It's a joke. Holy fuck, it's a joke. Let me go. Jesus Christ. But regardless of what you say, yes, he went and saw them in the club season. He doesn't know them as people. He doesn't know them as athletes. He doesn't know how they train in that gym. He doesn't know what they're actually good at and bad at. He just sees them, right? Like, you could see them in their club and be like, he doesn't really hit that fastball all that well. But in reality, it's just the way that they want him to hit it. So there's so many things that need to be discovered. Sure, you can say that he's going to be the system, but did you not just watch the past however many years he worked with the women's team? They had a very distinct system, and it's going to take some time to be able to settle that in. B, and then C, you're not dealing with the high level talent that USA is dealing with, right? This is the secondary player. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of struggles on the USA side. Obviously, it's less of an institutional thing. Like, it's not like a team that doesn't know, this isn't a Ukraine who doesn't know how to deal with VNL, right? This is going to have a team that knows how to deal with that a lot, but there's going to be a lot of growing pains for this team. Ultimately, I think it's going to be fine in the long run, but I think it's going to be difficult, especially early on. And there's, especially in the first few weeks, there's no one that you can really rely on who's really been there before and really been on one of these runs, right? Most of these guys who are playing this week are used to going home and not having to play VNL for the rest of it. So yeah, I think there's going to be some struggles. At 5 and 7 is probably where I have the USA. The only two rosters the only two match schedules I looked at for VNL this year are Canada and USA.
So I agree that this will not, there's no way this US team makes the playoffs, and that's not the point. We're hosting the Olympics. It's the time to figure out that this brand new group and Karch and figure everything out in a match setting, and all that is good. The logic that you're putting behind why they're not going to be very good makes no sense. They're not going to be very good. I don't have them that much higher than 13, but it seems to me like you're treating Karch Karai like he's not Karch Karai. This guy is the greatest player of all time. He just won.
It takes time though. I'm sorry, Rob, you've never coached. You don't know the reality of this kind of stuff, right? All I've heard from Akbash and Guidetti, specifically the two brand new coaches, is how difficult it's been to implement anything, how difficult it's been. And even for Akbash, this is talking about a coach who has been an assistant coach with Japan before. So he knew coming in a little bit, but still that there's been so much transition. So yes, he is the greatest player of all time. that doesn't mitigate the fact that he's only had 2 weeks to get to know these players, right? To figure out who they are.
I understand. I understand that it's brand new, and that is okay because that's the whole point of
For
this
sure.
particular VNL for the United States. But the floor is higher for this team than I think you expect and many expect, because this is United States volleyball and this is Karch Karai at the head of it. They will make good decisions. And that's what I'm trying to tell our fan base, especially on the women's side, with everybody just absolutely losing their minds over the result of the first 3 matches, that you should chill and trust that people are making good decisions, which they will do. But I also think that the best roster that this particular U.S. men's team can field can definitely compete. Think like Gabi Garcia, Micah Ma'a, Eric Shoji, like Jeff Jendrick and like Matt Knigge maybe in the middle, or Gassman or someone like that. The left side position is going to be the big one. It'll probably be like Jordan Ewert and maybe like an Ethan Champlin or someone. I really want to see a lot of Cooper Robinson this VNL. I want to see some Jacob Pastor this VNL. The left side position is going to be the biggest learning curve. When Eric Shoji comes back in week 2, you will see a significant difference in how much pressure is alleviated from those left sides, especially in the reception game. And I'm excited to see
I'm
that
expecting Shoji just to like stand in serve receive like this.
Get out of here. Give me 60% of the court. That's going to make such a huge difference. And I actually do kind of like the United States schedule. Like week 1, we have Ukraine and Iran, Iran, young Slovenia, and Cuba. I'm not saying we're going to win any of those matches, but I don't think we're going to go 0-4.
I think like 2-2 is very possible for you.
2-2 is super possible
in week 1. Yeah. In week 1, very much so.
Then week 2, China, Canada, Poland, Italy. We're absolutely going to beat China, and I refuse to pick that we're not going to beat Canada in the United States. That's ridiculous.
A lot of these guys have losing records against Canada, even in the United States. Go on.
Yeah, so that's absolutely not going to happen, and we'll be there in person for it, which will be fun. I'll skip ahead. I have the United States at 11. I have them going 6-6.
I think they're going to lose to China. Once again, you have how much China. I feel like China is a team that
oh my god
pops up.
What are we talking
with random athletes, right? They have their own league. They're the random stuff, and they've been putting some money behind it. I think we're gonna I think China's gonna surprise us.
China?
I mean, you guys, your women's team just lost to Czech, so anything's possible. And absolutely anything's possible. And I mean, hey, Gabi Garcia blows a few balls out of bounds. And here's why. Here's why. I don't think that systematically you guys match up well with China.
What? I can't even dig into how little sense that makes. China doesn't have a system.
What do you mean? They clearly do. So that's such a fucking ignorant thing to say. You can't tell me that they didn't have a system when they went and swept the Challenger Cup last year. When they've been working with one of the best coaches,
China, and they have a brand new head coach.
But they have Heinen.
Yeah, brand new. This is his first year coaching them.
And it is not his first year. It is his second year coaching. He coached them last year. This is what I'm saying. There's you're showing a little bit of ignorance towards this Chinese team right now. This is a team that has been moving forward with a very good coach who is known to build solid systems. That is what Heinen is known for. This is literally Glenn told me about this. Is like years ago, back when Heinen was coaching with Poland, and being one of his best things that he's able to do is to take a team that's maybe a little bit discombobulated and set things in place and set up systems in order for them to be able to win. So I think that this Chinese team is going to be better. I don't think that they have the high-end talent that a lot of these teams do, but I still think that they're going to be better. Once again, you're laughing at me, and you didn't even know that Heinen coached them last year. So this just looks bad on you.
I'm laughing at you because there is not a world where China beats the United States in Chicago. There is not.
You also said that there was no world that they lost to Czech. Your women lost to the Czech too, and they
absolutely did not say that. I said there's no world where the United States women lose to Korea tomorrow, which I stand by. There is no way that China beats the United States in Chicago. No possible way. Even if Zhang Jingyin can have the best match of his entire life, no chance. No chance.
I guess we'll see.
Let's move on. At 13, I have Serbia. I am really just kind of uninspired by Serbia. They remind me of Germany in some ways, except with even less talent at the setter and libero positions. I am really worried about those two positions. I mean, do we have to spend another VNL watching Nikola Jovovic set and pretend like that Serbian team has a chance to do any damage with him there? Because I'm kind of over that experiment. Their legendary middle blockers that they've always developed aren't really there anymore. I mean, Nedeljkovic is the one guy who continues to have good seasons in Italy, but no more Pedrašinin. Luberic is going to have the best tournament of his life for Serbia to do anything significant. And it, like, for them, it just doesn't really matter. Like, what's the point? What's the point for this particular Serbian team? Like, what are they really trying to accomplish here? I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. That would be a miracle. Even if they did, they would lose in the first round. They're just kind of an irrelevant afterthought of a team right now, and they need to do something. They really need a long-term plan at the setter and libero positions. And now they've got Georgia Kreitzu. We'll see what he can do with it. I am very uninspired by the Serbian prospects at those two positions.
I think saying that they need like a long-term plan at those positions is a little difficult, just because like you need the athletes at those positions, like especially as a setter. I feel like it's the like, you know, like you can go up and be like, yeah, we need a long-term plan to be able to create a setter, but like if those magical hands don't come around, it ain't.
There's nothing you can do.
You know, like like I feel like almost every other position except for like a high level, like mentally strong, like unless we're like talking about building superstars, like they have their own like level of echelon. But yeah, building a setter like that is very difficult.
It's tough.
Is super duper tough.
What's funny to me is that like Serbia, when I was first watching Serbia, I was watching Nikola Grbić set the ball to Ivan Milkovic, who both of whom were absolute legends. Then when Grbić retired from playing, they I don't think that Serbia ever gave Grbić a real legitimate shot at head coach. I think they fired him a little bit too early. Now, like, Serbia's kind of been in a revolving door of coaches. Grbić has gone to Poland and has created an absolute.
Did they fire Grbić though? Did they fire Grbić?
I don't remember.
Okay. So don't say that they fired him early. Don't predicate your whole thing if you don't remember. Why would Grbić leave to Poland where he potentially had a bigger contract?
He didn't leave immediately to Poland. There were a couple years in there where he didn't coach any national teams because he coached Perugia for a hot second. I don't remember the details, but like if there was a guy to entrust the Serbian development at the setter position, it would be the last great Serbian setter, and they no longer have him in the building.
For sure. But once again, let's not go out there and say that he was fired. Okay. Like, we do have to be somewhat journalists here. And if we don't know that, because also like we also just had a Guidetti who left Serbia with a very cryptic Instagram message, basically saying like, we had the athletes, we had the teams, we just didn't have the support from the federation. So like, this is, you know, let's not go out and say that he got fired when we don't actually know if that is the case. But at 12, I have Bulgaria.
Okay.
I have Bulgaria. I know, like, yeah, the Moni effect is going to be big, and I honestly think that might even be high for myself. Like, this is still Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Sure, you're adding Moni, but at the end of the day, there's a few things. A, he's a 19-year-old setter, like in the VNL. I know it's not his first VNL, but like, you're still 19. Like, it's not your first VNL, but A, no one cared about you the first time. Like, I know you popped off against Poland, and he had an absolutely fantastic match. And I expect him to have many fantastic matches. But now everyone in the world to know who he is, and everyone in the world is going to want to test him a little bit. On the flip side of that, Moni is only that second touch, and where Bulgaria, I'm really worried is that first touch.
Yep.
Mostly because Alex, his brother, we all know him and love him. He has one of the best offensive arsenals in the game, but he's not necessarily known for his serve receive. I don't know the depth of the Bulgarian team all of that well. We're gonna have to learn, and that's what I get to watch Bulgaria in person, you know, in a few days. So I'm stoked on that.
I'm looking forward to hearing.
I might even see if I can I might even see if I can go find their practices on Monday and just go sit in the gym or something.
That's going to be a fascinating team to watch this tournament.
But but like the reality is that like who do they have on the opposite? Who
Nobody knows.
Like as far as I know, like what are they going to go like Rado Parapunov?
No, I don't even know if he's on the roster.
No, he's
There's
not.
like
He's not.
a
But
couple
like
random, a bunch of guys I had never heard of. There's this big
you've
lefty
got
Dimitrov who's played a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, you've got Moni, you've got Alex, and then you've got Grozdanov down the middle. I think that to me is, and you know, in the NCAA, we've got a lot of young guys coming up too. Like there's a lot of like there's Bulgarians on Hawaii, there's Bulgarians at Long Beach and stuff like that. So I do believe that the youth movement is there and real for Bulgaria, but it's still a youth movement. And for that's a reason why I think that they're going to do all right, but I don't think they're going to come close to sniffing the playoffs.
Okay. I have Bulgaria at 10, and on similar logic, I think they've got a nice thing to build upon, but it's still real early. And I'm curious about their libero position. Can they develop somebody like they had Tedor Salparov for like the last 15-ish years, who was really solid. Like he played for Zenit Kazan for a while. Like he was a pretty good anchor for that previous iteration of Bulgaria. But like that is a position that they need. They need
Dimitar Dimitrov.
Yeah, he's the opposite. He's like he's an opposite. Yeah, he's this big lefty. I think he's one of the options, but I don't know anything about the Bulgarian libero position that's gonna have to improve or be developed in some way this tournament. 12, I've got Canada. Everett, you're not going to like that.
I mean, I expected that from you.
Yeah, I've got Canada.
It's an ignorant take, but it's expected.
I have Canada at 5 and 7. I don't need to go on a rant talking trash about your country like you did to mine. That's okay. I think Canada's young. They have very little wing talent. Very little left side talent. I think first contact is going to be a big problem.
Trust me, I was in the gym yesterday. It is going to be a big problem.
So I like Dan Lewis. I think Canada is going to be totally fine in the long term, but this VNL, I don't see it.
Yeah, no, neither for me. I just have us at 11. Like it's not like I have us like any much higher as well. I'm very optimistic on this Canadian team for a few reasons, but like there is going to be some growing pains. I think that there's a little bit more. We have a little bit more, I guess, experience that I almost expected out there. Like our starting lineup is all pro guys. I mean, Luke Herr has already been there before. McCarthy just came off a fantastic career, and he's going to be the captain. He's going to be the captain.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
So that'll be interesting. You've got guys like Brody who's played in Poland and Italy.
And gotten relegated Jackson 2 years in a row.
Yeah, okay. Gabby Garcia sitting on the bench. Doesn't
winning
really matter. From the bench. Yeah. So like cool. I mean, those guys your guys have consistently lost to us over the past number of years, and it's basically all the same guys. So continue. But yeah, like there's a lot of guys who are looking to really establish themselves. Sclater will be back as well, and he will be starting. And like this is a guy who knows how to score and knows how to play VNL. But we're gonna be young. We're gonna be young, especially on the left side. Both the liberos are back too. And I'm really excited about what I've seen from us offensively, especially in transition. But there's gonna be some learning curves for sure. I don't think it's gonna be quite like 2022, 2023 times, but it'll be in
2022 was bad.
Yeah, 2022 was a little rough. But like when you look at like we had guys. It was a little similar where we had like a few guys from pro and then some guys coming in from U Sports. And I will say that like while our guys who are coming from pro aren't as high as Mar was at the time, our guys coming up from U Sports, like the bottom of the program is much stronger.
Yeah, you've had a really good B team development situation the last couple of years, and
this B team is the best one that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Under Dan Lewis, who now is exactly. You talked about in our preview like the graduation of that particular group of Canada up to this level. I'm curious to see how they do. I think that USA versus Canada, like all trash talking aside, USA versus Canada in Chicago is going to be a
will be
fire.
Will be fire
Absolutely.
because you've got a lot of guys who know each other and they're going to go at each other.
Yeah, that's going to be. It won't be like the most high level match of VNL, but it very well could be one of the most entertaining. I'm super excited to be there for it.
100% too. So hopefully Chicago actually fills up the stadium a little bit. If we can get over 1,000 people for that match, Chicago, I'll be happy.
I actually have heard good things about ticket sales for that event, and I'm not even just talking about Poland.
Oh, so I've only heard good things about the Polish match for that event.
The Polish matches are all sold out. Like that. Those are going to be 4 home games.
What's the capacity of Hoffman Estates?
It's big. I think it can seat up to 10,000 because they've got this like second deck that are like, it's kind of like TD Place because you know that curtain that they have way up in the top level, like the Now Arena is what it's called. It used to be the Sears Center. They've got something similar that if they needed to pack people all the way up to like the back wall, they could. I don't know if they'll do that except for like Poland USA that Saturday, which is sold out. That they probably will pack the place, and that'll be a quick hour and a shower for Poland. But I'm optimistic about the crowds for non-Polish games. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I will say that if you want to get tickets to come watch in Quebec City, especially Canada versus France, get them fast. Last I heard, which was a few days ago, the Canada-France match on Saturday night has already sold 12,000 tickets.
Whoa.
Yeah. And in a stadium that holds 18. So I know that like what Volleyball Canada's told me about this event is that they were really optimistic about sales, like ticket sales, and that the pre-event ticket sales have already surpassed that optimism. So awesome. Quebec gonna be fire, bitches. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good time.
Live sporting events in Quebec are incredible, according to everything that you've told me, but everything I've seen too. That's gonna be fun.
The people going to be out.
All right, let's keep it moving. Who do you got at 10?
Sorry, I got to pull up my teams list. I got to remember who's in the VNL here. At 10, I have Turkey.
Okay. I figured they were going to be coming up pretty soon on our list. So I have them at 9, just missing the playoffs. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just think they're going to be a huge improvement.
Massive improvement from this year. I've talked about it before on the 9x9. I like Gerbuj. Lagumja is a solidified scorer. You have Mandaracha and you have the other Lagumja on the left side. Yeni Pazar, I think, could have a huge breakout tournament and just really establish himself as a really good setter. But I think you don't have the best coaching, and you still need to learn how to play at this international level a little bit. So I think it'll be like a just miss out of the playoff situation for the 9-10 spots.
Yeah, I have Turkey going 6-6. I have, let's see, Turkey, Bulgaria, USA all going 6-6. So like that group just outside the playoffs is going to be tight. On the men's side, you're going to have to be better in order to make the playoffs because China is going to take a spot away. So yeah, I take
top 7.
Yeah, you got to be top 7. You got like record wise, you've got to be at least 7-5, if not maybe even 8-4, depending on how everything shakes out. I agree with your Turkey take. I think Yeni Pazar being given the reins to that offense is a really good thing. I like their opposite options, I like their left side options. I like Bedirhan a lot in the middle. I'd like to see them get maybe one more guy ready to play at that level in the middle. I think Bayraktar at libero is pretty solid. The talent is there, the depth is there. They just kind of got to put it together, and I think they can. They got rid of some bad coaching last year. I think it'll at least get a little bit better. Definitely not like they really should have hired the Ziraat Bank guy, but apparently couldn't for various political reasons. I'm kind of high on Turkey. I think they can steal some games. They also have a pretty doable schedule. Like in week 1, they have Serbia, the Netherlands, and China. Like they'll get killed by Poland. They'll get killed by Poland week 1, but they have 3 winnable games week 1. Then they have Ukraine, Bulgaria week 2. Then they have like Germany, United States week 3. Like this could be a decent tournament for them.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay. Who do you got at 9 just missing the playoffs?
Argentina.
Really? So you have Serbia in the playoffs? That's remarkable.
I think that like Argentina, like you're moving on from DeCheco. The Polonsky did not have a great year this year. Vincentine did not have a great year this year. Lozère is really the only one. Like, you're gonna see some things moving on. I the thing is, for Serbia and China, or sorry, Serbia and Argentina, like for me, I was like flip-flopping on them. However, Serbia just has this way to win out games sometimes. They just get really Serbian sometimes. Someone talks shit to them. One of them goes out for a cigarette in the middle of the match and comes back and he's really jacked up off that nicotine. And, they just find out how to win games. Like, with them qualifying for the Olympics last year is a really good point to that. I think that Kujundžić and Peric had pretty good years. I think that Lubaric is a bit of a loose cannon and is going to be able to get some points. I think in a VNL that is going to have a lot of young kids, the old Serbian men are going to use that to advantage and beat up on them a little bit. I feel like they're going to be able to steal some games here and there. And I fully agree with you that like this is going to be the peak of them, but I still feel like they have a little bit of it right now.
Where do you have Serbia? And 7?
Yeah, so I have Serbia at 7.
Okay. I have Argentina.
I don't think there's much separating them points-wise, Serbia and Argentina. However, it's the China effect that like screws them over.
Yeah, the China effect will screw at least one team over, if not multiple. I really don't see it for like Serbia and Argentina. I think could be like in a similar spot. Argentina is so much more skilled than Serbia that I think that gives them a big advantage in like the first VNL of an Olympic cycle. I have I have Argentina at 6 actually. I have Argentina. I have Argentina going 8-4.
Your half show for the Lucianos is taking you a little far here, right?
Yeah. Now. So I think that, speaking of one, the most important Luciano is DeCecco, who's nowhere to be found this summer, which is well deserved. I think that is in the long term going to be a good thing for Argentina. They need to figure out an identity without him. I really like both Bruno Lima and Kukartsev. I think that's a really good opposite duo. They can lean on both of those guys to score quite a few points this VNL. I want to see a lot of Manuel Armoa. It's time for him to break out and be a superstar for Argentina on the left side. He's like been kind of waiting in the wings since, I remember calling his games in the 2022 VNL. And like we've kind of thought of him as the next guy up. This is his year. And then Lozère is a complete freak of nature in the middle. I am a little high on Argentina, especially because like 2 years ago, I think it was 2023, they were really good. They had a good VNL. They won the South American Championship for the first time. Then in 2024, they were terrible like the whole summer. Not good in VNL, and they were a disaster at the Olympics last year.
To me, they blew their load on that. They blew their load on that South American Championship.
They did.
And everything else after that was gravy. It was like, hey, we won the South American Championship. We know we're going to get we know we're going to go to the Olympics regardless. Like, we've already medaled there. Like, it just seemed like it. Like, after that, it was a completely different story for Argentina.
They were so bad at the Olympics.
So bad at the Olympics.
So bad.
I mean, that's what happens with the DeChungus, right? When he's being DeChungus. Like, there's either DeCecco or DeChungus.
Yes, those are the two options.
Yeah. So, and like he was a little bit of a DeChungus in that one, and I mean that's all right. But yeah, I think that's a little high for Argentina. I really do. I think it's going to take them some time because even think about back to what was the year that they didn't have DeCecco. Oh no, they've had DeCecco for VNL every year since then, right? I think
he's played pretty much every year.
Yeah, he's played pretty much every year.
Yeah, every year we kind of think that it might happen where he might finally step away or at least take a year off, and it never really has until now. Now we're finally going to see it. I mean, we know.
I do.
Matias Sanchez, little guy setting, like he's fun. I'm looking at there's a guy named Matias Hiraudo. He's going to be their second setter. He's much taller. He actually signed to go be the backup setter in Modena this coming season. I'm looking at that guy. I think he could do some good things.
Modena's making some interesting signings as
yes,
late.
They have.
That's for another conversation altogether. Are you gonna pick someone at 7 or what?
I'm gonna pick Brazil. Brazil is Brazil. Brazil's floor is extremely high. I mean, they're Brazil. will never truly be a failure or a bad team, but their standards are gold medal always, and right now they're just not there. This particular Brazilian team.
So their standards are gold medal always, and you put them at 7th.
Yeah,
underneath Argentina.
Yeah, I do.
With Lucarelli and Darlin and
Darlin.
Cachopa.
So Cachopa, Everett, you should know this better than anyone. Cachopa this club season was bad.
But Cachopa didn't have good passers around him. Brazil passes well. That is like one of their identities. Cachopa is I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. Cachopa is a tall gnome. Okay? He moves terribly.
He moves poorly.
Slowly.
It's bad.
But he just has a little bit of magic about him. So when he's with that,
no matter where the ball is,
Brazilian
he is
team
to it.
Yeah, but that's part of his magic. That's how he sets that. Like he's not a Bruno where he's like get there, get set up, dish. He's get there and I let my hands do the magic talking. So if Lucarelli and Co, because they won't have Tallis for this VNL.
Right.
If Lucarelli and Co can pass well enough, which I believe they can, he'll be in system and he'll be decent. Also, I do think that this 7th position is absolutely egregious.
So who do they beat in a quarterfinal to finish?
No one but 7th. But like there's 2 other places above 7th that they could still lose a quarterfinal.
So I have them going 7-5. I have Argentina going 8-4, and then I have the other team at the team finishing 5th going 8-4 as well.
Wild. You're like really praying for the downfall of
I have been on that for a couple years. You're right. People are higher on Darwin Souza than they should be. Darwin Souza needs to show me that he can be a really good elite clutch player after point 20 in meaningful games for me to believe in him. I am concerned about Verona this upcoming year because of Darwin Souza. He is very explosive. He's fun to watch. The weebs love him because he does the Naruto thing before he serves. So that's all cute. He's like a Brazilian Japanese player. Well, that's all nice. He is way too erratic for my taste right now.
I mean, we're not going to get into the Verona thing because you forget about who's dishing him the butter.
Yeah, it'll be Micah Christensen, who is the best center on the planet.
Exactly. So he's going to be getting one-on-ones everywhere, right? Like that's where he's going to be good. So for me,
I need to see him be really good out of system.
For me at 6, shit. Do I make people really mad with this one?
Do it. I know what you want to do. Do it.
No, I want Slovenia.
Dang it. I have Slovenia at 5.
Yeah, I just think that Slovenia, I know they're still going with their older guys, but like, I don't know if that magic is going to be there the same year as last year. I do think that they're going to start. Slovenia does have the potential to start the tournament 3-1.
I think they could start at 4-0.
It's not out of the question for
Cuba,
them to start
Iran, United States, Brazil. Like beating Brazil in Brazil will be difficult.
Brazil is going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think Slovenia will be young.
Then they have Turkey, Bulgaria, France, and Japan, and I'm going to rock them at
2 at worst.
2-2, yeah, because they don't match up well against Japan. And then they play us. They'll beat us. They'll beat the Dutch. They'll lose to Italy, and
they'll probably beat Serbia. Like their schedule.
Yeah,
is
they probably
good.
Yeah.
I do think that Slovenia will be younger. I think they're going to make an effort to be younger, but I cannot wait to see Rok Mosic just be the guy this tournament. I really hope that's what happens. It's about time. You're absolutely right. And I've got an eye on Nick Mujanovic on the right side. I think he could be a player. But I don't see Slovenia winning a quarterfinal this particular year. I think their floor is going to be pretty high and they have a good schedule, but especially if they go a little bit younger, they don't have the top end ability this year to win a medal at this tournament, I don't think.
No.
Who do you got at 5? Who just misses the medal round? Are you going to put Brazil in the medal round of this tournament? That would blow my mind.
There's 2 teams that I want to cut from this, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
One of them is Brazil.
Yeah. I think I know who the other one is.
Is that based off my spicy take?
Well, I just think that there's a clear top 3 in the world right now. And
and
it does not include Japan. I'll say it. I'll put Japan at 4th. I'm doing it.
Yeah, I really want to put Japan at 5. Yeah, no, I'm also going to put Japan at 4th and Brazil at 5.
Okay.
As much as it pains me to do, yeah, I think I have Japan at 4th and Brazil at 5.
Okay.
It's just I still think this Brazilian team is decent. I still think they're going to be able to do some stuff. I think that Japan, so like getting to watch the Brazil, like, dude, Japan pays for extra people to go on these trips with their teams. Like they have a full-on like 6-person TV crew here, and at the end of every single match, they are literally talking to the studio back home via iPad, like directly. Like the infrastructure and money that Japan puts into VNL is incredible. And I do think that they have most of their team back, correct?
They have everybody at least on the roster. I don't think Nishida is going to play very much.
But I don't even think he's the best. I think Miura is better than Nishida.
I agree that I think Miura is.
So
what they're missing is Sakita. They're missing Sakita. He hurt his ankle. He's out. So their setter position is
the big one. They're missing Sakita?
Yeah. Sakita's out. So that's a big reason why I don't think they can medal. We know Japan. Everybody watching this knows Japan. We don't need to talk about who Japan is and like why they're good and why they've been good the last couple of years.
I almost want to switch Slovenia and Japan now.
Go for it. It's your list. You can do whatever you want. I have Slovenia. I have Japan winning a quarterfinal game just because they have enough of their requisite elite attackers that they should beat whoever they play in the first round. They match up great with Slovenia if it happens to be them. But I don't think there's any way that Japan beats Italy, France, or Poland in any order in a medal round this year without Sakita. There's no way.
Who do those teams have on their rosters, though? That's the big question.
What, those top 3 teams? Question. No matter who it is, they will be better than Japan without Sakita. You want to keep yours or you want to switch it?
I kind of want to switch it.
Do it. Switch it.
Yeah, no, I'll switch it. I'm switching it.
Yes, I love it.
I'm switching Slovenia and Japan. Mostly because I think Slovenia wins that last game. Like that one of those last games in that last round against them. Like I think they play each other in like the last game, and I think Slovenia wins it without Sakita.
They play each other the last game of week 2.
Iro is all right. And I think Iro took some huge steps forward this year with Osaka Blution, but he just doesn't run the same rhythm of offense that Sakita does.
Definitely not.
No.
I don't disagree. I think Japan losing a quarterfinal is totally plausible.
Okay, scratch this. I'm putting Slovenia at 3 and France at 4.
Whoa!
And you know why. We all know why.
Oh my goodness.
Because the chances that we actually have the French team at that point, like any of those like top guys, like there might be a few of them, but a lot of them, I don't think so. Also, This is the French we're talking about.
Yeah.
If they lose a semifinal, what happens?
Hammer.
Fireball down the gullet.
You already know.
So that's why I'm calling France at 4th, because France is a terrible third place team.
Awful. Like they're
awful third place team.
Couldn't be a
whereas
worse.
Like Slovenia would get jacked up for a third place match.
I like your logic of France at 4. I do not in any world see this Slovenian team winning bronze. Even last year, Slovenia went 11-1 in the preliminary round. They were the number 1 seed and still failed to medal. Like they Slovenia to me is they just can't win the big one. They can get close.
But this isn't going to be the big one. This is going to be the smallest of the big ones. You know what I mean?
If they play France, if they play hungover France, they can probably beat them.
Because they won bronze at the World Champs, right? Or they got 4th?
No, they took 4th there.
4th.
Too.
Yeah.
They lost to Brazil. At 3rd, I have France. So I mostly have France. I know that they would be hungover if they lost a semifinal, but I cannot, in good conscience, pick Japan to beat France for a medal.
I'll be really honest. Like in like I have to put France in the top 4, but I don't even see them making it there. Like I just don't think they'll take it that seriously. And
France
I think that
you're right. Either they get 7th and like lose, like they flame out in a quarterfinal, or they win the tournament. There's not really a whole lot of in between. But I think on one thing that I really like about France is that their youth development right now is on fire.
But so like if I'm France, I'm going more with I'm going with is Timothée Carl. Yeah, I'm going with Timothée Carl. I'm going with Théo Fort. I'm going with Tizi Oualou as their setter. Like I'm going with the young guys because the older guys won't.
Matisse Heno, like the
older guys won't care enough. The older guys won't care enough about VNL.
I agree. Right? I have a lot of confidence in France's youth. I think their youth right now is as equipped to play at the senior level immediately as anybody else on the planet.
It's like France and Poland right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Last night, I have a video idea that I'm cooking up right now because last night after the games, I was sitting with some pretty heavy hitters within Canadian volleyball, and we were discussing about the current meta in men's volleyball, and we literally created a timeline of how we got to this. And all I'm going to say is that the reason that we no longer have big banging opposites anymore is because of Stefan Antiga.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, buddy. Okay, my boy Matt, my boy Matt Harris. He's with the next gen team. He's with NEP
I love where you're
going. That.
You need to make this video. I love this idea.
Oh, and he's like an autistic savant, and he was pointing stuff out to me, and we were just having beers after and it just all unraveled in my head, and I was like, holy shit, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and this is why Nishida is good now at 6 foot on the opposite. It is crazy. I'm gonna make a video one time and break it down about it, but I need to do I probably need a few more months of research if I really want to be able to execute this project.
What I'm picturing in my head is the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme of Charlie Day at the board with all the papers and the strings, going crazy about it like a mad scientist. That's how I see this coming together.
That's exactly what it was, and we were using chalk on the sidewalk to be able to mark things down. Yeah, it was just a whole neurodivergent fest between me and Matt Harris last night.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right, so we have the same 2 teams at gold and silver. Who wins?
Poland.
Same.
No, actually, Italy.
Really? Okay, I actually like that we're picking this differently. You think that Italy finally does it? You think they finally care enough about VNL to win the damn thing?
No, I just want them to.
Okay.
I'm going with my heart here.
Okay.
I'm going with my heart because also Micheletto is on this tear where he's so won good, most of the one of the I know I just made a video about it. You guys can watch it on this channel.
Excellent video.
And I talk about it. He's won a Champions League. He's won a Scudetto. He's won a World Championships. He's won a European Championships. In terms of the major competitions, of the major ones, he's really only missing the VNL and the Olympics. And of the second tier ones, he's missing the Italian Cup and the Club World Championships. So I want to see Micheletto win a VNL, and I hope it's this year.
So that would be nice. It would be nice because Italy and VNL frustrates me so much. I've talked about this a lot, that the Italian fans drive me insane with how they treat this competition. I don't care how much you care about VNL. If you don't care about the tournament because it's named Volleyball Nations League, that's fine. When you bring your entire roster, you should care about how they play. That's the part that I don't get, is that Italy, like, if you don't care about VNL, then give the guys the time off that they need, man. Stop sending Simone Gianelli to VNL.
But once again, I.
So everyone says they don't care.
Of a phallatic argument, because like,
no, but it's not. But then they bring the entire roster. So they
great. You're talking about
roster.
The fans complaining compared to what the coaches and federation decisions are.
Yeah. So the federation doesn't seem to care either. But then they bring the entire roster, and then the players don't care. Like there's a disconnect there that makes no sense. But if you bring the roster, you need to win this tournament.
But they don't bring the roster. You're talking about it's the fans who expect them to win this every tournament. You're complaining about the fans.
The fans are completely the opposite of that. The fans expect them to lose in the first round of the playoffs at VNL because it's VNL. They don't care. It doesn't matter what the tournament is. If you bring your top roster, which I think that Italy will, because they always do.
They only ever lose because they don't bring their top roster. It's never a question of like them just sending their top roster and them not caring.
No, that's never been last year. Last year, VNL in the playoffs, they sent the B team. The year before that, they sent the A team and they got stomped. I think they lost to us for bronze. I don't remember. They never medal at VNL, and other than last year, they always bring their guys because and if you bring your guys
before that.
I don't remember what happened the year before that. That was the year they won the world championship. So they had an excellent year later in the year, but they definitely didn't win VNL. I think that was when they lost to Japan for bronze.
They don't bring their guys though, right? Like the only time is the one year that they lost to Japan in bronze.
They also lost to the United States in 2023 with all their guys. Yeah, 2022 was France beat the US and France beat the US in the final in 22. Italy with their guys got killed by Poland for bronze. In 23, Poland beat the US for gold after we killed Italy in the semis, and then Japan beat Italy in 5 in the bronze medal match with their guys.
Okay, but that's not them not go like it for me. Anything past the semis is a wash. You know, in like the same way in the women's side that like we pointed out that Poland was perfect during the intercontinental round and then got bronze two years in a row. Anything, if you make the semis, like all 4 teams are good, anything can happen. Right?
Yeah.
Like the reality is that even with this randomness of list that we have, any of these teams could finish, like any of these teams could like have a good game in the semis and win one of them.
Yeah, I do think that Poland, Italy, and France are the 3 medalists in some order. I really think that they are a class above the rest of this tournament with who they have available this tournament and like just everything else that's going on.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at it in video game styles, then absolutely. But like sports is sports, and like there's so many things that
played on the court, not on paper. On the Poland side, so I have Poland winning this tournament. I have them doing it without their starting setter. No Janusz. No, I mean we've talked about the pieces that they're missing. Janusz, Zatorski, Bieniek. Poland is Poland. They are so loaded at every position. I like the idea of getting new setters involved in this team, and the fact that Wilfredo Leon is playing is at least on the roster is interesting to me. I'm curious to see how that goes, but I kind of see a world where Poland wins this tournament not necessarily by their own being the best team. It's kind of by like the other teams stumble along the way and kind of part the seas for them. Like France gets too drunk after a game or something, and Italy flames out because they're Italy and they refuse to perform at VNL for some reason. And Poland just like, okay, here, sure. If you leave the door open for us, we'll happily go ahead and win this tournament. But Poland is Poland. I think they're the depth of availability they have, the bodies that they have is so ridiculous that it's difficult to see them doing anything but finishing on the podium. And I just happen to think that they'll figure it out and win this one.
Yeah, I just think that like, we talk about like Italy not winning, and it's not like Poland has won that much over the years as well either. Like it's not like they're perennial powerhouses that always win. So yeah, I do think that you've got guys who come in and care. What did they win last year?
So Poland got third last year because they intentionally rested starters in the semifinals against France, which they lost in 5. Then they killed Slovenia for bronze. Then they won silver in the Olympics. And then the year before, in 23, Poland won the VNL.
In 2022, did they win then?
23, France won. Poland won bronze. They beat Italy after losing to the United States in the semis.
Okay, so it's not like France is like this, or Poland is this perennial team that always wins as well. Yeah, I don't think it's that necessary.
Nobody, the only perennial team that always wins is France when they try.
Corneliano.
And Corneliano, that's for damn sure.
I don't even give it. I'm not even giving it to France when they try, because they've, we just
France
pointed out
France when they try. They've won the last 2 Olympic Games. They've won 2 out of the last 3 VNLs. When they try, France pretty much wins.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
And the VNL they didn't win was because they didn't try. So yeah, so trying is the huge question for France, as it always is. But I happen to think that Poland will get this one done, and I guess we'll see how it holds up.
Yeah, we'll see. I just want Italy to win it. I just want Italy to win it.
I would kind of like for Italy to win it too. I think it would make me happy for them to put all their resources into this tournament and actually win the thing, because they're certainly good enough to. It's the part that kind of drives me nuts, is they're very obviously good enough. And now they have Kamil Rychlewski on the right side. So all they've done is add talent to a world championship caliber roster.
Yeah, Rychlewski. I forgot about that.
We're in blue now.
Bryce, je suis Canadien, je suis pas fucking français, tabarnak. OK? Attention. Taisez-vous dans le chat. OK?
I understood some of that.
On continue.
A couple magic words in there I understood in Quebecois French.
Yep. I'm gonna be full on. I'm gonna be full on with my Quebecois French over the next week too.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna be in QC. You're gonna come to Chicago in a couple of weeks, like speaking French on accident to me. That's gonna be fun. All right, boys and girls, I think that's a show. That's a list.
Drag me.
Get our live chat has been incredible this episode, which we appreciate. And just like we said,
okay, before you leave, give us a like.
Yes.
Bitches, come on.
There are 240 of you watching live, which is a big number for us, and there's 40 thumbs ups on the video. We need more of that. We also need you all to subscribe to this channel, because like as you should have already done this, but you can see like when Everett's in Ottawa running this event, there's like almost a double-digit number of videos coming out every day, just because of all the interviews and Everett's little post-game wrap-up and stuff like this that we do. So we are really, really active right now, and y'all need to subscribe to make sure you don't miss anything. But keep this conversational energy going in the comments section after the stream and in the Volleyball Source Discord. Link is in the description. It's been an awesome week for the Discord for Women's VNL. It's been very fun, except in the USA channel, because the fans of my country, Everett, are driving me absolutely insane. I'm so sick of them. It's crazy.
So last night, before going hang out with Matt Harris, I went to have a beer with some of my volleyball world friends. And former colleagues, and we were looking at volleyball Twitter, and people talking about the USA women, and it is hilarious to see literally the exact same counts. And also there's a lot of people from our community too on these Twitter threads as well too, so it's really funny to see like the same names that pop up in our Discord and in our chat, like in these ones. And thankfully those are sometimes the people who are people who have a little bit of a more level head, but wild, like
people are calling for Eric Sullivan to be fired.
Oh yeah, people, it's 0-3 start. Crazy. 0-3 start, beginning of the quad. Yeah, let's get rid of Eric Sullivan. Yeah, he can't handle it. Oh man. And it's just like I've seen accounts who are being like against Brazil. It's like, we need to have Sarah Franklin in. Where's Sarah Franklin? Like she's gonna be on the World Championships. And then after Czech Republic, like Sarah Franklin shouldn't even be on this team. It's like, it is wild, and I love it.
It is so ridiculous. I've already said that, like in our USA channel on the Discord, I can't go in there anymore because the people are too stupid. I'm going to go in there exactly once a day. I'm going to drop a GIF that either says relax or something similar to that, and I'm going to leave. I'm going to do that once a day. And that same energy carries over to the men. And Jemmy in the chat, you're right. This women's VNL 3.5 days in, has been fantastic. It's been really, really fun. Really fun.
Yeah.
Like Ottawa, Everett, where you are, has been way more fun than I expected it to
be. Way more fun than I expected. I thought I was going to be bored all week.
Yeah.
And yet we've got random performances, up and down matches, 5 sets up the wazoo. We've got 19-year-olds balling all over the place. We've got a Japanese team who has been balling out. Absolutely. Ferhat Akbash is my absolute boy now. Man, like, yeah, this has been a really fun week for me. And I'm actually like, in my head, I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, because I'm only going to go to the Canada game today. I'm not going to go to like the Bulgaria, Serbia, or any of the matches tomorrow. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like, I'll get out of there. It's going to be, I'm sad I'm leaving. Although I will say, as I said before, Ottawa signed on for another 3 years. So bitch is coming out next year.
That's fantastic news. But yeah, like it's just been exactly what we could have wanted out of a VNL, the first VNL of a quad. Like that level of chaos, unpredictability, and entertainment has absolutely delivered this week. And I'm so excited for the men to hopefully do the same.
Yeah, me too.
All right, boys and girls, let's get out of here.
I need a nap.
I kind of do too. I'm fighting through it right now. We appreciate you all. We will be back on the 9x9 on Tuesday. And I will be doing a USA men's preview with a very special guest. Either Monday or Tuesday. We will let you know which, but that will definitely be one to look forward to. But yeah, get active, join all of our different places, Discord included, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.